Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Cole Phillips, author of The Adventure of the Twisted Truths and host of the Book and Dagger. Today we're going to be discussing the top 5 most powerful Ninjago villains. First of all, we're going to do an honorable mention, and then we're going to do the top 5. The honorable mention for the most powerful Ninjago villains is going to be Moro, the Master of Wind. Now, if you've seen my video on the most powerful good guys of Ninjago, or you've watched Lego Ninjago, so you know all the lore, you know that the first Spinjitzu master mastered all the elements except for water and wind. So the fact that Moro, Master of Wind, had one of the few elements that even the first Spinjitzu master couldn't master is crazy. He was also just very overpowered when he became a ghost, but even when he was a human, he had he was Sensei's first student, and Sensei Wu considered him a prodigy and even thought that he might perhaps someday be the Green Ninja. I was not a big fan of Moro as a person. However, as a villain, he was very strong and pretty terrifying. Which, of course, he wasn't as terrifying as the preeminent, but he was very, very strong. Moving on to the fifth person on our list, it's really two people. We have the Hands of Time, the twin brothers Crux and Acronix, the Elemental Masters of Time, who fought alongside the Alliance of Elemental Masters and Wu and Garmadon in the Serpentine Wars. Just the time manipulation, I am not a big fan of, just because it is such an OP ability. However, it was done very well because in the battle between Crux and Acronix and Wu and Garmadon wielded the Time Blades created by Kai and Mia's parents, which essentially sealed away the time powers. And so now Crux and Acronix can't use their powers unless essentially they have the Time Blades. So it was a neutering to their powers, which didn't make them too OP, while still making the story very interesting and making them very terrifying as villains. Moving on to number 4 on our list, we have the Omega Oni. March of the Oni was one of my all-time favorite Ninjago seasons. It did not kill off any characters to make anybody sacrifice themselves, and yet it was still a very, very well done season with terrifying villains. Just a good heroic stand, the Tornado of Creation coming back into play, Garmadon struggling with his feelings of good and evil again, and the Omega Oni was very powerful. Now, of course, we know in Ninjago lore that the Oni are creatures who just want to destroy everything. The dragons and their elemental powers have the power to create stuff, and the Oni and their shadow and destruction, darkness powers, they have the power to destroy. And when we first see a glimpse of the Oni, it's in the season right before that, which is I believe it's season 9. Yes, it's season 9 that we see Mistake, the old tea shop lady, suddenly turn into a shape-shifting Oni and just go fully insane as she fights Lord Garmadon. But Mistake was weak for an Oni. Well, she might not have been weak for an Oni because she did mention that she destroyed the other Onis who were sent to destroy the first Spinjitzu Master. But Garmadon just bested her really easily. And then compared to the Omega Oni and some of the other Onis we see in March of the Oni, the Oni are crazy powerful. And the Omega Oni and Garmadon fought, the Omega Oni went toe-to-toe with Garmadon and even beat him while Garmadon had conflicted feelings, which shows just how powerful the Oni are. And eventually the only thing that could defeat the Oni was 7 Elemental Masters and then Garmadon fusing their tornadoes of creation, fusing their Spinjitzu together to create the ultimate tornado of creation and drive the Oni back. Moving on to number 3 on our list, however, is Lord Garmadon himself. Lord Garmadon is the very first villain we ever see in Ninjago. He's a very good villain, and he has the best character development in the entire show. He starts out as a villain. He becomes eventually starts as a villain when he is bitten by the venom of the Great Devourer, and basically evil runs through his veins and forces him to be evil, but he tries to do good. And then when Lloyd battles the Overlord in season 3, his resulting light as he vanquishes the Overlord cleanses Garmadon of the evil, and Garmadon becomes a good guy and an ally. He's not very strong, but he's still pretty cool. And then, of course, he sacrifices himself to bring back the Anaconda generals and stop Chen and his army. And then, of course, when Harumi and the sons of Garmadon, they hold the ritual to resurrect just the Oni parts of Garmadon. And he comes back more powerful than ever with Oni type powers, and he's insanely strong. And so that's what he's number 3 on the list, because he also went toe to toe with the Overlord and held his own. He fought against the Vengestone army, which is more of him being a good guy, but he was still kind of evil. And then also when he fought Lloyd, he was pretty evil. So, and he bested the Green Ninja. So that's a pretty powerful feat in itself. Number 2 on our list is going to be probably a spoiler, dark horse for some, Nadakon the Jinn. Now, Nadakon the Jinn, his power is a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, he's a Jinn, so he has magic, grant powerful wishes. On the other hand, people can use his wishes against him. Now, Nadakon has figured out a way to get around this pretty cool, because he can trick people into, like, some people wish for something and he can alter their words or alter the wish so it doesn't turn out exactly how they want. Even then, however, he can still be defeated with his own wish magic until he gets the Sword of the King, and then he has the Jinn marriage ceremony where he becomes the Jinn King. Then he basically is granted the power of infinite wishes for himself. So he doesn't just have to use his magic to grant other people's wishes. His infinite wishes, which is an insanely OP ability, as we see when he fights all the ninja. Also, the only thing that can stop him, or even just slow him down temporarily, is the poison of the one spider, which is insanely difficult to get, and it only slows him down for a bit. So the fact that the ninja struggles so hard against him, and eventually the only thing that can defeat him is when Jay uses his final wish. When Nadakon is in a weakened state, when Jay uses his final wish to wish that none of it had ever happened, and it's all reverted back. So it is kind of a downfall that he was defeated with his own magic. But when he had the infinite wishes, he was insanely powerful, and I remember watching it and thinking, there's no way they can stop him. Which is, usually when I'm watching a show, I'm like, okay, well, the good guys are eventually going to win in the end. So there's some way they're going to get around this. As I was watching this season, I was sitting there like, there's no way they can stop him. Moving to number 1 on our list is, of course, you probably guessed it, the Overlord. The Overlord is hands down the most powerful villain the ninja have ever faced in all of Ninjago. He has basically been there since the beginning of time as the personification of evil, the evil incarnate, basically. He was so powerful that even the first Spinjitzu master could not beat him entirely. He created an army of indestructible stone warriors. He created the Nindroids and took over Ninjago City multiple times. He took Lloyd's golden power in the one season and became the Golden Master, which is basically, it was him and his dark power fusing with the golden power to become the most powerful person in the world, essentially. And then crystallized, he created the Vengestone army, which basically neutered all the ninjas, all the elemental powers. None of those could be used against him. And he had the Dragonides, and he transformed, and he gathered all the previous villains under his control, and he took on that crazy powerful form that basically he was beating Garmadon and Lloyd, and with no trouble. Basically, the only thing that could defeat him was, once again, the elemental powers fusing together, weapons of creation, which created the world itself, fusing together and giving the elemental power to Lloyd again to become the Golden Ninja once more and fight him to banish him for a time again. That is also the other crazy thing about the Overlord, is you beat him and he comes back again and again. The more evil that takes place in the world, the more bad guys that come, the more strong he becomes, and the faster it is for him to return. Now, the more good that takes place in the world, the weaker he becomes. But since there's so many bad guys and so many villains and so much just stuff happening in Ninjago, it's very, very easy for the Overlord to gain power. And every time the ninja beat him, it's only for a time, and then he comes back, which makes the Overlord just a crazy powerful villain. And that's why he has number 1 spot on our list. That will be all for today, though. If you like this stuff, please like and subscribe. It will help my channel out a lot. And I will see you guys next time.